Hey, good morning, everyone. Not really a lot going on here this morning, but let's go through the charts and see what might set up here. So, S&Ps here are down 2 points on a little bit here. Pulled back to the rising 20. We mentioned the breakout failure that occurred here. Now, looking for this as a possible setup, as a buy setup. One of the general rules is in an uptrend, pullbacks to the rising 20 should be buyable. However, this one was preceded by a breakout failure. I mentioned yesterday the fact that the spiders or the S&P cash did not break out. So, futures traders anticipated the move higher. It didn't work. They're getting out. So where do they want to buy? Well, just looking at the 30-minute chart here, some are buying here. Because this is stabilized. However, down at the lower level, the bottom of the range would be the ideal place to be buying, somewhere in here, looking for a bounce. And the ideal scenario to get there would have been, something like that, an extended move rather than building up an area of support, which, if it does get down here, will become a reference point of resistance, which leads to more probability of trading range type of environment. So we'll see what happens, whether it continues to break down or whether this support area that's being created at the moment can result in some type of a move higher, up or down. So we're getting lines in the sand here as to which way we're going to go. Set your alerts and wait to see what happens. Spiders. You can see the breakout failure that did not occur. If it had, probably, the futures would have continued up and spiders would have continued up. It's the same little range that's going on here in a downtrend, and the ideal scenario would be to come down here to be a buyer. The Nasdaq, it's like the tale of two markets again. One inching lower, the other one here, Nasdaq came back yesterday with this wider bar, and they're just hanging up here, which is, positive. It cleared the resistance, and it's going sideways. It suggests it can go higher. Can the Nasdaq continue to go it alone, and the S&Ps do nothing? Well, we'll see. But you see, the support has been built up. In other words, repairing the damage of this big down bar, and certain stocks are, repairing, so to speak, and others are not. So Nvidia looks pretty good, holding here, bottoming tail yesterday, going sideways. It's got room to go higher, and it's, the way it came down so hard created that void. And if it can get going above here, that suggests it should continue to go up. On the other hand, we have LRCX, which has not been able to bounce. There's the big blast to the downside, but it's been holding support. And the 50, and so we're getting lines in the sand here. Which way can this go? Well, a lot of divergences between markets, between stocks. Now, what is happening here, somewhat interesting from a day trading point of view anyway, is that, gold is up here. And, here's another wide range bar to the downside. NUGT, this is, the triple leveraged shares here. They're up a little bit, and it's got room to go higher. So that's of some interest to me today. And if you want a higher price one, there's NUGT. Same setup. They'll go in the same direction. Gappers, WB, big gap down. And this is 68-ish, closer to 67. But this is going to be in play for gap traders this morning with a gap under this support here, under a green wider bar. So it's got several attributes of a gap play that makes it attractive. It's got room to go to the downside. So, however you're going to play that, could be a sell setup, a 1, 2, 3 continuation pattern. It could base and break lower. It might try and bounce a little bit since, the size of the gap. But as I said, it'll be in play today. CINA, another one that's gapping down. It's into some support here, so not quite as attractive. But this is one that might go sideways a bit and then fall. So those are two gappers, and I'm sure you all know Oracle. This is a big gap up here around $52. That's a big gap, and actually, I mean, it's coming out of a base, but it's a big gap, so it could be a one to fade possibly if it had a breakout failure. But it's it's a big one, and the biotechs, which have done great, getting a little bit overdone. 3 days up, big giant bar yesterday, trading at 79 here. If it continued higher into the first or second reversal period around $80, the whole number, I might consider that as a fade or a short-term move to the downside. That's it for this morning. A lot of, as far as the broader market's going on, a lot of nothing. The transports, let's just take a look at those for a second. The transports, which had survived the 200 here, this break lower and then got above resistance, more sideways price action overall, but yesterday was a pretty negative day to the downside here. So, if they can hold up, that'll be encouraging for the broader markets. But, at the moment, it just looks like more choppy sideways price action for the broader markets. But, find your pockets of strength or weakness to play it accordingly intraday. All right, guys, that's it. Good trading.